Commissioner May, it is 11:30, but you do not have a quorum yet.
Okay, we'll wait a few more minutes.
Gary, stop smiling. You're going to make this presentation one way or another. You're about to have a quorum.
Very good.
I don't have her on here. No. But I'm gonna let everybody in right now then.
Yep.
Do I what? Okay, I'm ready now.
Is this working?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioner Baker.
Good. There's nobody on the screen.
I think they're getting ready to pull up Gary's presentation.
Okay. Okay.
Well, Commissioner May, it is a little bit past 11:30. You do have a
Okay.
quorum.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're going to start today with a work session presentation on the history of cooperative development agreements with ACHD, and the presentation will be given by Mr. Gary Inselman. So, Gary, we will turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, sorry, a little bit of feedback.
If there's a little bit of feedback, just remind everyone to please mute your microphones.
Okay, so I'll go through some history on proper development agreements this morning. So what is a proper development agreement, or a CDA? So we've entered into a great number of these over the past several years, and they provide for the design and construction of planned improvements in conjunction with development. And they are an agreement of opportunity. When conditions are right and the opportunity is there, we will work with developers to see if we can't. Wow. Okay. See if we can't take advantage of the time value of money and economies of scale to provide some improvements in advance of when we could get through them through our normal programming, again in conjunction with development. So since 1998, we've entered into more than 100 of CDAs, large and small. And they've been a great benefit to ACHD and the public by providing the infrastructure in a timely and cost-effective manner. How is one initiated? We do get many requests each year from developers. If it's not an advantage to the highway district or a benefit to the public, we won't bring those forward. When it is a benefit to the public and the district, and looks like it can work out with the developer's plans, then we'll begin those negotiations. Sometimes staff will propose these. I've proposed many through the years, working with developers to try and take advantage of the work that they're also doing in the area. And so sometimes we'll initiate those, and a great example is the North Meridian area. We did several intersections there that we proposed, worked with developers, and got those improvements made. So what does a CDA do? There's many terms within the agreement. They provide for the design and construction of the street improvements, and they are designed and built to ACHD standards. It does require competitive bidding. Provides for the allocation of costs between the parties. Provides for the payment of the reimbursable project cost by ACHD. And then there are contract terms and other provisions to protect ACHD and the public. Through these agreements, ACHD generally will pay the reimbursable costs upon completion of the project and acceptance. If the developer doesn't finish the project or doesn't start, we're not obligated to reimburse any costs up to that point. So there are many protections within there. What does the CDA not do? It is not a loan. We do not accept money in advance and then build something, advance an ACHD project. It's not a loan. It does not take funds from other budgeted and programmed projects. We craft the terms to stay within our budget or to spread the costs out over a couple of fiscal years so that we're not taking away from other projects. It does not commit us to acquire right-of-way from third parties. That's one of the limiting factors with these agreements is the right-of-way needs to be available or owned by the developer or willing participants. We do not condemn right-of-way for a cooperative development project. And it does not commit public funds to private improvements. We only pay for the system improvements. Improvements needed for the development or to enhance the development are paid by the developer. What types of projects have been completed through a CDA? A very common one is we'll just extend frontage improvements to fill in gaps. If there's a development going on and we've got a missing gap adjacent to it, we can extend those improvements and get those filled in. Placement and widening of bridges. We built a few regional stormwater basins. Most common are widening arterial roads, extension of the new arterial roads, or intersection projects. Here's a few examples of road projects that we've done through the years. The Pine Avenue, basically from Cloverdale to Locust Grove, was done through a series of CDAs. Lake Hazel Road from Maple Grove nearly to Cole, and then the new extension and the Orchard extension were both done through CDAs. Then several others. Sample of some of the major intersections that we've done through these. You can see 3 major intersections along Eagle Road, a whole host of intersections in the North Meridian area along McMillan and Chinden. So through these projects, what is reimbursable? So the CDA will define those costs, and ACHD will reimburse for the improvements to the ACHD system. Again, we don't reimburse costs that exclusively serve or benefit the development, and we won't reimburse for parts of the project that were required as part of the development approval, such as their sidewalks, auxiliary turn lanes, or other requirements. How does the reimbursement work? The CDA will provide a time frame for when the payment of the reimbursable project costs are due. Again, no costs are generally paid until after completion of the project and acceptance into the system. Then there will be a payment schedule that is drafted by staff to suit the circumstances of the project and ACHD at the time. So for the majority of them, they're very small, and we have a budget each year that we can use to enter into these agreements. And those would be paid upon completion then. For the larger ones, we've done a variety of scenarios. If we've got the funds available, we can pay within the fiscal year. All general fund reimbursable costs are paid within the fiscal year they're incurred. For impact fee eligible costs, There's a variety of scenarios that we've used through the years. It can be paid upon completion and acceptance, or we can issue an impact fee credit, which we've done many times. The developer may be reimbursed over time as we collect impact fees in a defined area that's benefited from that improvement. We did that on many of the intersections in the North Meridian area, or we can do any combination of the above. And for extraordinary impact fee eligible projects that are built through a CDA, those are reimbursed from available funds in the overlay district. When those funds are no longer available, then we will pay quarterly until those costs have been fully reimbursed. So that concludes my presentation. I believe the CDAs are a very useful tool at our disposal and recommend their continued use in the future, and I would stand for any questions.
Thank you very much, Gary. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments?
I have a couple questions.
All right, Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. This is helpful. We did a pretty comprehensive CDA with St. Luke's and the city of Boise. But I've noticed we have very few where we actually have the land use agency entering into a CDA with us, so that to the extent a developer might enter into a CDA with the city, they have to do it separately. So we're not leveraging city money against ACC money against private resources. So is there a reason why we don't enter into more CDAs, three-party CDAs with the land use agencies?
President May, Commissioner Hanson, I think it's just it depends on the project and the opportunity and where it's located. The St. Luke's was a very unique example where the city wanted certain improvements over and above what was normally required of St. Luke's. St. Luke's was willing to provide those. We were willing to work with them to see that happens in lieu of waiting for it to work up through our normal programming. That's not really the normal circumstance. The closest thing we have is probably some of the work done downtown with the city and CCDC in conjunction with our maintenance projects, and they're not really developer type driven projects, just opportunities to coordinate and work together to get all of the improvements done at the same time.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, I'd like to see more of that. I think we can leverage resources that the city might be willing to put into improvements they want to see that would make more sense. Another issue I've noticed is that, and your slide did point out some of the examples, but they were all about the road network. We actually have adopted a bike network, and we sort of there's not much reference to that when I look at staff reports and CDAs, that because the bike network has been adopted and approved for networking across the county, and I think we owe it to our constituents that if there's an opportunity, it's far less expensive to enter into a CDA to help build out the bike network, and the same thing with pedestrian. So is there a reason we don't incorporate more bike facilities into CDA analysis and mostly just focus on building a road network?
Commissioner Hanson, usually the developers will propose a CDA to build an ultimate intersection or road widening and an interim project that will be later torn out by us. It's a bit of a waste of resources if we can partner and build the full improvement at one time. If that does incorporate a bike facility in accordance with our bike master plan, then we'll certainly provide that facility with the road improvement at the same time. We haven't had any that really had a different type of bike facility from the standard bike lane in the past projects. In future ones, I would certainly see that would happen, as we have now a more options on the table for the enhanced bike facilities on some of our arterials. So we'd probably see that in the future ones where there'd be a different type of facility than just the on-street bike lane.
I'd really encourage that. Obviously, just an on-street bike lane, if it's not safe, isn't used. It's kind of a waste of money. So when we're building on across arterials or along arterials, it really has to be some sort of enhanced network so that it functions. So that maybe some nice bike facilities within the development are actually connected or to be future connected to off-site networks. So I think we should put as much effort into making that network work, because otherwise we consign the people living in that development to car dependency, and then coming back later on and building facilities when we would have the opportunity, much as we do on the intersection, have the opportunity to do it right from the get-go and get people in the habit of using that option as they move in. So I would strongly encourage that. Okay.
Thank you for the clarification on that, Mr. Inselman. And certainly it's good to know that nothing would preclude having those discussions going forward. Do any other commissioners have a question or comment for Gary?
I do have a comment, Commissioner May.
Commissioner Arnold.
Thank you. I've been around for a number of these, and they are a great deal for the district. We get improvements made well ahead of what we otherwise might. And I would also point out that all of these projects include sidewalks, pedestrian facilities, ADA compliance, and generally bike lanes. I'm not aware of any that that didn't include the appropriate improvements to go along with the road to accommodate all users.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Arnold. Any other comments or questions for Gary? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much, Gary. We appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, looks like we are ready to just step right into our pre-commission agenda. And we will start with our general housekeeping items or announcements. Anything from any of the commissioners? All right, discussion of our meeting agenda, our consent or regular agenda.
Madam President?
Commissioner Baker.
Madam President? Yeah, first of all, let me just say, I think that the transmission of this Zoom conference is not great. And I don't know if it's just me or because there's a lot of in it. So I don't know if that's something that can be worked on down at ACHD or if I have to reboot it. But anyway, I did just want to ask or inform everybody, you know, I sent that email from Ariel McLuskie on to everybody, and I hope everybody got a chance to read it since it's on point about the reconsideration.
Yes, that's been received, and then it was placed in the record. So thank you for forwarding that on to everybody.
Commissioner
Any
May?
other comments about
Okay, so you just, yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I
No,
skip?
you just, for me, you skipped. Did it skip for everybody else?
No.
All right, well, I'm gonna log out and then log back on.
Okay, while she's doing that, we're still on the agenda. If anybody has a comment
Commissioner May,
or
I
an
have a
issue with
comment.
that, Director Wong.
Thank you. Commissioners, good morning. Again, what I'd like to remind you, as I did last week, when you have discussions regarding BSU, for the record, since I won't be participating in this during your session, I want to again put on the record that both of my daughters have graduated from BSU. My wife and I are members of the President's Club. We're members of the Bronco Athletic Association, and as you all know, my wife and I have sponsored a memorial scholarship for music in my daughter's honor. I would again ask if you have any questions of me during this session when it comes to BSU, please refer those to the Chief of Staff or the General Counsel or to Christie.
Very good. So noted. Thank you,
Thank you.
Director Wong. All right. I don't see Commissioner Baker back on. Has she signed back on?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll just go ahead. If there are no other comments on the agenda from any other of the commissioners, we'll go ahead into the director's report.
Okay.
Director Wong, and then when Commissioner Baker joins us, if she has anything further.
Okay, again, Commissioners, again, good morning. A very short update today. As you know, we've taken very proactive and conservative actions regarding all of the issues with the COVID pandemic that is in Idaho and Ada County. What I wanted to let you know today is that we are taking a very hard look at a potential of a little bit of a restructure on how we are looking at our operation here to ensure that we're able to respond to emergencies with across the district. As the numbers of COVID positive tests continue to increase in Ada County, we may be looking at additional rotational issues for just a few of our very key areas, so that if we have an issue where we have to quarantine a part of the district, we don't lose that emergency response downstream. So anyway, that's what we're looking for. You have your budget books at the front desk and such for those of you that are able to come by and pick those up. And as a reminder, your first meeting will be a 2-hour meeting on July 8th, follow up on July 15th. We've broken up the 4.5-hour marathon to just two-hour marathons as we move forward. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
All right, any questions for Director Wong?
Madam President, I just want to thank you, Director
Commissioner
Wong,
Hanson?
thank you for sending the budget in electronic form, and I've already started reading through it. It's a lot easier to read through it on the screen, on the big screen, than it is flipping through paper. So I really appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. That was a good idea to do that. I think it helps everybody.
Okay.
Director Wong,
Yes.
when you are speaking, if we can get you in the center of the screen at the podium, and if we have any subsequent staff members that come to the podium, if they could be on the screen. Right now, I just am seeing a great big green circle with the telephone.
Hang on a minute. IT is coming to the rescue.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Commissioner Baker's back.
yeah, but I couldn't get on the one iPad. I could get on the other iPad. It makes absolutely no sense. I rebooted it. It's weird. So,
Is it
okay.
so choppy for you?
I will have all my stuff on this. It's all messed up. Never mind. It's just a bad day.
So, Commissioners, if you have approximately 6 minutes before your start of your meeting.
All right. Thank you, Director Wong. And Commissioner Baker, since you had to get off and reboot, was there anything you wanted to add about the
No,
agenda?
I'm gonna try getting on this one if I have 6 minutes, because all the stuff is on my other iPad.
All right.
So it's like, it's a bad day.
Okay.
So I'll try it again. I just, is the Zoom, this worked yesterday, so I guess for Michael, it says unable to connect. Make sure you're connected to the internet. We are. Or your connection to Zoom is not blocked by a firewall or proxy. So does that mean that there might be a problem with your firewall at ACHD? But it worked yesterday.
Madam President?
Anyone there?
Director Wong?
Yes, as a reminder, again, I know I updated you all this week on this, but as a reminder, we are asking that you defer the 2 consent agenda items 1 and 2 regarding the State Street properties to date certain, July 15th, based on the rationale
You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
That's a date certain of July 13th?
July 15th.
Okay, so now it's working. So I don't get this.
Okay?
Director Wong, can you hear me?
I can. Were you able to hear my comments?
Yeah, now I can. All right, now I'm back on the other one.
You're back on? Okay.
And can we get this all off the screen?
All right, we have a few minutes until we reconvene. Thank you very much. And I couldn't hear Director Wong's response there at the end.
I couldn't either. It kind of cut out.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, oh, how are you? Good, how are you? Oh, well, I do not have COVID, so that's a super positive. But I think it's just these horrible allergies right now. Yeah, Kleenex and I are pretty close. Just, I can't, sneezing and, throat congestion.
If we could, please make sure to mute if you are not speaking to the entire group. We're listening to a private conversation about possible COVID diagnosis, so if you could mute your phone, please.
I take this over 100-degree heat any day, but
that's Brittney. Brittney Scigliano.
Yes.
Mute.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, how are you?
can't the moderator or
Yeah.
Stacy?
Michael?
Yeah, like hanging in there.
Michael, can you mute Brittney?
Oh, I lost you. Hello? Hello?
This Zoom thing is just not working.
Hello?
Well, but
Hello?
sometimes it's very difficult to hear. We need to be meeting here.
Deanna Smith, FaceTime audio.
Hello? 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 Now I can. Well, it says you're calling me with FaceTime audio. Okay.
Okay. Brittney, can you hear us? Brittney? Now she's muted. Okay, I'm on. Okay.
Commissioner May, Commissioners, it's now 12 o'clock. Am I muted?
Lose Commissioner May.
Okay, Director Wong, can you hear me?
Commissioner May, it's now 12 o'clock.
I could hear you, Mary, but I couldn't hear if there was any response from the director.
No,
Okay.
I didn't hear him either. Okay, time. It's time. Is that a timeout or time? All right, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. I will now call our July 1st Commission meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Wong.
Thank you. Commissioner May, can you hear me now?
If you
Okay.
could please lead us in the pledge.
If you will all please stand. I pledge allegiance and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. Today I would like to recognize ACHD's Accounting Supervisor, Ms. Anna Osborne, for her outstanding leadership within ACHD's Accounting Department. Anna does an exceptional job managing the complex issues that face ACHD literally every single day. She has brilliantly managed a multitude of diverse issues, such as COVID-19 expenditure challenges, ACHD's multi-million-dollar operations accounts, contractor payables, and all while preparing for ACHD's numerous audits. Anna's performance maintains an extremely high bar of excellence just across the board. Anna, we thank you for all that you do for so many. We are lucky to have you on our team, and we are all so proud of you. Thank you. All right. Our first order of business is to adopt our agenda.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Goldthorpe, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, a second by Commissioner Baker. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. And please, just a reminder, please do mute. We're getting a lot of feedback and interference today, so if you are not actively speaking, please make sure your mic is on mute. Thank you very much. Consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be moved from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All consent agenda items are commission action items unless noted. Commissioners, do we have a motion?
Commissioner May,
I move we approve the consent
I don't
agenda.
think she can hear us.
Did you
I don't
want
think she can
to
hear
I
us.
move we approve the consent agenda.
items 2 and 3?
Well- No, I thought they were removed. Okay, let me start that over. I move we approve the consent agenda and remove item 2 and 3 to July 15th.
Second.
Okay, just a point of order. Is it the 13th or the 15th? I believe it was the 13th.
It's July 15th.
No, it's the 15th.
It's
15th.
15th. Okay. All right. Thank you for that correction. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. All right. Now we're down to our first item on our regular agenda. It is a request for reconsideration of previous commission action on June 24th, 2020 for resolution number 2306, vacation of public right-of-way for a portion of West Belmont Street, South Vermont Avenue, South Manitou Avenue, South Grant Avenue, and the alley right-of-way located in blocks 13, 19, and 22 of South Boise First Subdivision, Boise State University, Idaho State Board of Education, And just to remind everyone that this is a request for reconsideration. And also for the record, I just want to restate that both of my children attended Boise State and earned multiple degrees there. And my son is currently employed at Boise State. None of these items will have any bearing on my decision today, but I wanted to enter that into the record again as well. If any other commissioners have anything to declare, otherwise we will start with the presentation by BSU.
Commissioner May.
Ms. McDermott, Commissioner Arnold.
Yes, I also need to disclose again that my son graduated from Boise State University, and I attended 2 or 3 classes there years ago as well. None of that impacts my decision.
All right, thank you very much. It's good to get that back on the record. Anyone else?
Madam President,
Commissioner Hanson?
30 years ago, I worked for a short time at Boise State University.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson.
Madam President,
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
I feel that I should disclose that about 20 years ago, I rooted against Boise State when they played Utah.
All right, for the record, duly noted. All right, thank you. So then we will now turn over the presentation to Ms. McDermott. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you,
All right.
President May. This is, and thank you, President May and members of the Commission. This is Randy McDermott, Vice President for Campus Ops at Boise State University. I have with me today Matt Wild, who's our General Counsel, as well as Drew Alexander, who's our Capital Asset and Development Manager. I will summarize our request for you, and then any one of us could be available to you and members of the Commission for questions. I feel like a bad penny. I'm just right back after last week. I'm sure most of you recall the Commission voted not to adopt Resolution 2306 as a result of what we believe are errors of fact and/or law in accordance with ACHD procedure. We are here to request that the Commission reconsider your June 24th, 2020 vote, specifically for the following reasons. Number 1, our petition and application for vacations of rights-of-way is directly associated with the 2010 Property Exchange Agreement, addendum in 2019, between ACHD and Boise State. The provisions of that agreement outline obligations for both entities. Since the requested vacations were outlined in the agreement, we believe that more focus should have been paid to the agreement in the hearing in the form of more background and context for our request, along with a copy of the agreement as part of the hearing packet. Number 2, at a work session in 2018, the Commission requested that we provide an updated traffic study of this area of campus, specifically in anticipation of our filing a single vacation request for those streets, as opposed to a piecemeal vacation request over time with individual traffic studies. We believe the findings of that study clearly support our request, and we believe the Commission would have benefited from seeing the study as part of the hearing packet. Number 3, our master circulation plan was submitted and accepted by ACHD in 2012. In 2018, we were asked to update this plan with current data, especially as it related to our anticipated South Campus vacation request. The scope of work was designed with the ACHD staff, and the update provides multiple scenarios of impact to the streets and surrounding streets in question. We believe the Commission would have benefited from seeing the updated plan as part of the hearing packet. Number 4, public testimony and comments from commissioners focused on issues that were not relevant to the request, namely Beacon Street improvements and master planning with the City of Boise. In relation to Beacon Street, regardless of dissatisfaction expressed over the design improvements along Beacon, the fact remains that Boise State fulfilled its obligations to make specific improvements at Beacon and Manitou, and we completed our work in coordination with ACHD staff. Boise State has also granted easements per the agreement to allow ACHD to proceed with further improvements on Beacon. The design of those improvements remain the purview of ACHD. In relation to master planning, Boise State regrets that ACHD staff was not made aware that our master plan application with the city had been withdrawn. However, we are perplexed by the interest in tying an ACHD action to a planning process that occurs between the city of Boise and the university. We are concerned that too much emphasis was placed on this unrelated process with the city that ultimately has no bearing on the agreement with ACHD or with the vacation request. Fifth, a comment during the vote last week suggested that ACHD should not act on multiple vacations, but rather require us to come back with vacation requests tied to specific projects. In actuality, we have an infrastructure improvement project that is well into planning and design that has been anticipating these street vacations. A denial of our request causes a major shift in planning and will delay that project. We did not bring the details of this project to you on its own because we were focused on our obligations per the agreement and because we were anticipating the vacations per the agreement. Finally, it has been clear to us throughout this process that there is the importance that ACHD places on public testimony and public outreach, and Idaho law allows for a vacation determination to be made when it is in the best interest of the public. We know that that is for you to decide. Even so, we understand that there have been occasions when ACHD has allowed vacations to private entities when members of the public have objected. Of the over 100 people who responded to our public hearings over the last 6 months, only 3 came to testify before ACHD, and none of them expressed specific concerns over their ability to traverse these streets once they are vacated. Boise State is a taxpayer-supported entity with requirements to work with the public in much the same way as ACHD. Our public is your public. We are not a private developer looking to profit off of changes to these streetscapes. We are a community partner, which is why I believe we came together to develop a right-of-way and exchange agreement in the first place, to allow for a more efficient and cost-effective way for 2 public entities to better manage expensive projects, processes, and planning in the interest of better serving our shared constituency. We applaud your staff for their work with us to date on all aspects of the agreement and the obligations outlined therein. We believe that the concept embodied in the agreement is a great example of responsible government working together, and we would like the opportunity to continue working with you under the parameters of the agreement. In order for that to happen, we respectfully request reconsideration of Resolution 2306, a return of the matter to ACHD staff for further review and a new hearing. With that, thank you, and we would stand for questions.
All right, thank you very much. Do any commissioners have any questions for Ms. McDermott? No? All right, hearing none. All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Randy. Commissioners, you have this before you. Do we have a motion? Or I'm sorry, Graciela, do we have some individuals that wanted to comment?
Yes, we've got 2 people, Ed and Ariel McLuskie.
Okay. We will go ahead and hear from those individuals, and then it will go before the commissioners.
Ed.
Mr. McLuskie?
Hi, thank you. Ed McLuskie, BSU Professor Emeritus, residing at 1919 Bernal Lane.
Okay, and I just want to remind you that we have your comments from last week, all part of the record, and then the email that we received this morning.
Yes, well, thank you. Anyway, so far, the public still owns the streets through representation by elected officials here at ACHD, but BSU's deciders are appointed, not elected by the people, a difference that makes a difference when interpreting phrases such as public involvement and public engagement. Actually, people did testify about using the streets and the impacts of losing them. Last week at the hearing and in written testimony to ACHD, the agenda packet contains passages to that effect from the public on attachment pages 48, 50, 55, and 56. So BSU is playing a bit loose with what happened with public testimony. As for the St. Luke's Jefferson Street vacation, BSU's claims need some nuance. The full master plan was used for that decision in coordination with the city's decision on St. Luke's full master plan. Approval there was part of, not separate from, a master plan. BSU's request is an effort to claim ownership over who knows best how those streets are and should be used. These are the people's streets, citizens of Ada County and of Boise, whose histories of using these streets never seemed a question until this letter tried to paint the opposing testimony as a public disinterested that doesn't use or even have an interest in how these streets are used. BSU would erase this public venue while overplaying its history of agreements as if those were unrevisable. The aim is exclusive ownership of streets through subtractions of legally binding forums where people can count on the right to be heard. An academic institution can do better than this reductive, off-center display of bureaucratic and legalistic sensibilities that would end consequential public action on the matter. By a 4-to-1 vote, ACHD took the public into account and BSU's decade of incomplete application plans in order to end BSU's exclusive ownership claims to the streets. Problems any of us may find with representative bodies and institutions of public trust do not justify taking any venues for public discourse out of the picture. But this move does just that. Any efforts to reduce the public's role in consequential public decisions weakens democracy and, I dare say, the university that would do such a thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLuskie. Does anyone have a question for Mr. McLuskie? All right, seeing none. Looks like we have Ariel McLuskie that would also like to comment. Thank you, sir. Ariel, are you there?
Hi. I'm just trying to see if the camera's going to come up for you, but maybe it's not.
Well, we can hear you.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. And I am Ariel McLuskie. I live at 1919 Verna Lane. And good afternoon, and thank you for conducting this Zoom meeting. Please deny BSU's requested vacations in Southeast Boise. The existing street grid of 5 acres allows residents and visitors to cross Beacon Road and University Drive to the Greenbelt businesses and neighborhoods. These streets also provide free street parking, which is always endangered by future density. And education is going virtual, just like today's Zoom meeting, yet BSU is plodding forward today with a 2018 traffic study as if individual and state demographics and economics haven't shifted with the global COVID-19.
Ariel, excuse me. I just wanted to reiterate that today, the only thing that we are considering is their request for reconsideration, so that they will have to come back again at a later date, and we will go from there. So I just wanted to make sure you understood what we are deliberating today.
I do, but I'm also trying to testify that this tends to be part of BSU's profile in regards to rescheduling and deferring, and it often encourages a lot of public to drop out of the process because of the zig and zag of it. And I just have a few more things to state.
Okay.
That,
all right, and that is certain, and you are welcome to do so. I just wanted to make sure you were clear on what was before us today, and I don't want to take part of your 3 minutes. So I will be quiet now, and you can continue. Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you, Mary. BSU, please begin to utilize the existing campus that exceeds 213 acres. Now is the time to be an authentic good neighbor, like a real Mr. Rogers, towards this area of Southeast Boise, and withdraw this and all of your county and city requests, including denying any alterations to University Drive from Capitol Boulevard connecting east across Broadway for travelers to their recently purchased Key building. Future plans might require different street vacations from those that they are demanding today. BSU is a university with a mission to educate, not excavate and erode more neighborhoods, and please invest in honoring Idaho's curriculum, staff, and established neighborhoods that surround BSU's place of commerce. all which continue to serve BSU for past and future generations. And now more than ever, we need BSU to become authentic and accept a shared humanity and honor boundaries of people and place. And commissioners, I thank you for your wisdom to make all of Boise livable. Thank you. I'll take any questions if you have them, but.
All right. Thank you very much, Ariel. Commissioners, any questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anyone else, Graciela, that we have that has indicated they would like to speak to this item?
No, that was it.
That was it? All right. Thank you very much. All right, commissioners.
President May.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Daigle.
President May, Commissioners, for the record, Paul Daigle, Chief of Staff. I just would like to make a correction. Mr. McLuskie, I believe, testified that the vote was 4-1. I do believe the vote was a 3-2 vote.
Was 3-2,
Take
correct.
that correction for the record.
Okay, very good. I didn't hear that comment. All right, thank you. And Ms. McDermott, did you have anything that you wanted to clarify after hearing comments from the McLuskies?
Thank you, President May, members of the Commission. I'll just add again quickly, and I think I noted this also last week, but we have begun a facilitated process to bring neighbors together with Boise State so that we can create better relationships and plan better from a perspective of mutual interest and concern for what happens throughout the neighborhood that surrounds Boise State. Mr. McLuskie is a part of that group. I think we've showed good faith in recent months as to our interest in including neighbors in those conversations, and we will continue that going forward.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. All right, commissioners, this item is now before you.
Commissioner, may I have a couple of comments, if I may?
Yes, absolutely. Commissioner Arnold, go ahead.
I cannot make the motion since I was in the minority on last week's vote. However, I would urge that we do reconsider this. I think it's very clear from the record that there was some information missing from last week's meeting that the commission did not have the opportunity to review and consider. I think there was also some confusion about the impact and relevance of the master plan status with the city. And I think, frankly, there were maybe some knee-jerk reactions based on the fact that there was some missing information. So I think in order for us to have a fair opportunity for BSU and the commission to consider this and continue on with the agreements we have in place, I think we need to reconsider this matter and have a complete record in front of us at the time of the reconsideration.
All right, thank you. Any other commissioner have a comment?
Madam President?
Commissioner Baker.
Just in response to Commissioner Arnold, I think the onus in presenting a complete application fell upon Boise State. If they are now saying we didn't look at the agreement, they should have provided the agreement. And I personally don't think that my reaction, my vote, my belief on anything was knee-jerk. So I'm not going to make a motion to reconsider because I think that the vote that I made was totally appropriate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Baker. Any other commissioners? I would be supporting, again, I am not able to make the motion for reconsideration, but I would support having BSU be granted their request. I think it's reasonable, and I think there were several issues that were perhaps conflated, not all, but I don't think we should deny them the opportunity to come back in. And they're going to have to start fresh, as we stated. It's going to be at least 30 days or longer before they come back in, but I do think that's a reasonable request, and my support of this will stand.
Are you making the motion?
I can't make a motion. I can second a motion, but I cannot make a motion for the same reasons that Commissioner Arnold stated.
The only commissioners that can make the motion are Commissioners Goldthorpe, Hanson, and Baker. So any one of you could make the motion.
Madam President, in that case, I will. This is Commissioner Goldthorpe. I'll make the motion that we approve the request for reconsideration of Resolution 2306. I don't think we have anything to lose by considering any other evidence or matters that might be brought before us.
All right,
And I'll
thank you, Commissioner
second the
Goldthorpe.
motion.
All right, we
second
have a
the
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries. We have granted the request for reconsideration for Boise State. And I think we will have to just work on scheduling. A date certain was not part of the motion, so I think there'll have to be some communication as to when that will take place. So thank you very much, Ms. McDermott, for coming back and presenting to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Ordinance 245, amending ACHD Policy Manual Section 5300. This is a request for adoption, and it is a public hearing. So I will go ahead and open the public hearing, and we will hear from staff. Maureen Gresham.
Good afternoon. Maureen Gresham, Community Ride Manager, presenting a decision briefing for Ordinance 245, which is updating the policy manual for policies related to commuter ride. The current policies in our policy manual were written in 1995. They have not been updated since that time. Earlier this year, while preparing for an upcoming grant-related audit by VRT, as well as developing a new van pool offering through our CityGo partnership, I reviewed the policy manual and I noticed that it includes programs no longer operated by Commuter Ride, as well as outdated policies and language regarding our van pool program, park and rides, and rideshare platform. Working with our legal team, we did a complete review of the entire section dealing with us and are recommending changes that will reflect current policy programs as well as minimize the need for future updates. Sections 5301, 5302, and 5303 were updated to capture the new rideshare platform we use, which goes beyond just carpooling. It deleted an owner-operated van pool program, which no longer is offered by Commuter Ride. Rather, we offer a contractor or employee-sponsored van pool service, and it updates language regarding our park and ride lots, specifically how we develop MOUs with local businesses to share the use of their parking, which incidentally does save ACHD money. Section 5304 sees the most recommended changes. The current policy manual goes into detail on daily operations rather than keeping it at a policy level, items that we change on a regular basis depending on current conditions. For example, it outlines a van pool recruitment bonus, even identifying the dollar amount. However, this is something that is reviewed and changed much more frequently than you would expect a policy manual to change. Further, the policy manual was written before websites became a great source to provide up-to-date and relevant information. Items that are included on our website have been deleted from the policy manual, including our participant form, driver's handbook, driver incentive program. The policy manual section has been reduced to a description of the rideshare platform and its purpose, a description of our park and rides, a statement that rider and driver programs are available on our website, and a new section that documents the process for fares and how those updates are to be handled. Staff does recommend the Commission approve Ordinance 245 to accurately reflect the commuter ride program policies in the ACHD policy manual. I'll stand for any comments or questions.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions for Maureen? All right, hearing none. Maureen, thank you very much. We appreciate you doing that. That was a long time coming, so it was necessary to have it happen. So thank you very much. Do we have anyone that has signed up for the public hearing, Graciela, to comment on this?
I do not have anyone
item
that signed up, no.
All right. In that case, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. And commissioners, you now have this item before you.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I would, first I want to commend Maureen and give her a heartfelt thank you and congratulations on your promotion. And I know you're going to do some great things. We will miss you. I have learned a tremendous amount from Maureen, understanding how travel demand models work and how critical a transit program is as a part of a transportation system in the Valley. And Maureen has been stellar in her leadership, and I really appreciate that. And one of her last acts is to clean up cobwebs in our policies. I don't quite understand why we need an ordinance, since we're getting rid of a bunch of language, but nonetheless, it's a pared down little ordinance, and I move to approve it.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay,
Madam President?
Oh, Commissioner Baker?
Yeah, I just go along with what Jim said regarding, we're going to miss you, Maureen, and you've done a fabulous job, and hopefully you'll come back and visit once in a while.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know if she heard me or not.
Yes. Did you hear Commissioner Baker?
I did. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed my time here.
Well, we appreciate all you've done. We appreciate this last act as you are exiting the district, but we will definitely miss you, and this will be one of the many legacies that you leave behind for those that follow. So thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, we have a motion. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. No, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. All right, this takes us to our last item, public communications. Is there anyone that would like to address the commission? No? Hearing none? Going once? All right. Hearing nobody has signed up, we will go ahead and we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.